What's going on, sluts, and do not be offended because slut stands for sexy ladies under the sun. My name is Max and I'll be your host as always. You can call me Doing It For Her or DIFH to shorten that shit up. And if you can't tell by now, some Black Ops 2 gameplay commentary. I'm using the MTAR assault rifle and this is on the map Standoff. It's a map a lot of people say they really don't like, at least from what I've read and seen and heard from some people. But I actually do like this, one of my more favorite maps of the game, and I actually think it's a as far as map standards go, I think it's pretty good. I think it's balanced. I think there's a lot of spots to do stuff. There's choke points. I think it's a really good map in general, but this is a hard point. Probably my new favorite game type. I think it's a great addition to this game. I'm loving it. This is where most of my gameplay is probably going to come from, and I completely miss every shot in that guy. I don't know what I was doing. I was shooting like peas and ice cream scoops at him, and no bullet connected. But, you know, when in doubt, blame it on the hit detection, right? So what I'm going to talk about today isn't about hardpoint or anything like that. It is about assault rifles. So I'm using the MTAR here. I think it's the first assault rifle in the game, and it's the one you already instantly have. And I'm actually starting to like it. You know, I never used the assault rifles when this game first came out, and I'm just now starting to, because a lot of people say the SMGs are the best, and I'll go on a limb and say yes, they are. But I don't think they're as good as people make them out to be. Yes, the SMGs are really good, but whoa, check this shit out. The original dolphin dive from the old Call of Duties. That's what it was before we could sprint and hit a button in Black Ops. That was a dolphin dive, followed by the halo jump, then the drop shot. That's what dolphin dive was, man. At least when I played with friends, that's what it was called. So, but right there, if you see me do this weird little, like, that butt wiggle I just did there before I fucking completely failed with that stun grenade, that's what I do when they have a UAV up. Because if you have Ghost on and you're sitting still, at least from what I have been told, if you're sitting still, you're still going to show up on radar. You have to be moving for Ghost to work. So I'll do that little ass wiggle, like I said, and it's kind of like a Tyler doing the pee-pee dance, like he's got to go to the bathroom really, really bad in the middle of Toys R Us while his mom's trying to buy him a video game. So that's what I'm doing when you see me do that, so I don't pop up on the radar and I can still like pull off the head glitch and get a shot. I do it a few times, but the assault rifles, oh man, let me get back on topic. Assault rifles are probably starting to be one of my favorite guns. The SMGs, yes, they are all powerful. Yes, they are, you know, they need a little balancing, and they do, like, beat the assault rifles in close range combat almost 90% of the time and stuff like that. And this game does primarily suit the rushing player. Like, a lot of people have different thoughts on it, but I made a video about how this game was kind of for the rushers, and I'm still going to stick by that. This game is more of a rushing game for people like that, because I think the defensive player is always at a disadvantage at certain times, and there's me doing that PP dance again. But I think the defensive player, or the camper, or whatever you want to call him or her, is always at a disadvantage at certain moments. But I'm starting to get my defensive roots back down as I steal this fucking care package. It's just a Guardian. I really don't like this kill streak. A lot of people do though, but I'm really not liking it. I think people are calling it the Easy Bake Oven, and I just think it sucks in my opinion. But if you like it, that's cool. I usually just would never run it on my normal class. But you know, the SMGs, they are, you know, all powerful. Everything people have been saying about them, you know, it's true, but I think people overdo it. I don't think the SMGs are as super duper powerful or ridiculous as people make them out to be. I'm getting my defensive roots back, and I'm actually really loving the assault rifles, you know, the Type 25, the last one, I forget what it's called, like the AAN or something. I'm sorry if I get that name wrong. And the MTAR, like I'm using right now. I think those are like my favorite assault rifles, and then the SMGs, you know, are still my favorites. I do like them, but you know, I'm starting to prefer these assault rifles over them at times. Like, I'm starting to have more fun with the assault rifles, and playing defensive is fun. Look at this guy completely get destroyed by that care package though. That was fucking crazy. I'll zoom in on that and check out that instant replay. I thought that was fucking hilarious. That's one of those fails I was talking about. But assault rifles, you know, man, if you can get the defensive playstyle down, they actually can be really, really fun. And I'm starting to enjoy the game more when I use an assault rifle, because the SMG, you know, kind of same old song and dance, just running around, spraying from the hip and shit, and I just got a little bored of that, so I swapped things up, and I'm really, really loving the assault rifles. I know I'm saying that a little too much, but assault rifles are becoming my favorite guns. And that's the point of this commentary, guys, for those of you that are still listening and stuff like that, and listen to me ramble on about nothing. What do you guys prefer? Do you guys prefer the assault rifles over the SMGs? Like, now that the game's been out a little bit longer and some people have toned down on the SMG talk, the SMGs still are really good, you know, but as I said, as far as gameplay goes, I'm having fun. I think assault rifles are the best, because, you know, you can only run around a corner and just have your finger glued to the right trigger and the shoot button so many times, whatever the button is on PS3, I forgot. But check out me using that lightning strike. That's one way to defend the hard point. You just drop that near it and it kills everybody. So it's fucking cool. But the assault rifles, in my opinion, really awesome to use. I'm starting to get better kill streaks with them than I would with the SMG because, you know, you sit back and play defensively. That usually gets your kill streaks going up better while you're rushing around normally with the SMG. Get the fuck out of here, riot shield guy, whatever that thing's called. You do a little bit better, and that's just how I'm personally liking to play. But once again, what do you guys think are better now that the game's been out? I'm going with SMGs still. Like, I think they're better, but I don't think they're as powerful as people make them out to be. I'm starting to really think that. And one thing that's been bothering me though is snipers. I feel like these guys can beat me in fucking gunfights all the time, and I have no idea why, and I really do not like it, but it's whatever. I used to be a sniper. Sniping's pretty fun. This game's got sniping down to a T, but that's not what this commentary is about. It's about them assault rifles versus them SMGs, son. But I think the MTAR, there's a good example coming up here soon, once I get out of this building, of how dominant the SMGs are up close, and I'm going to wait for it to come, because I think it's coming up soon. I'm going to leave this house here. Once I get killed right here, the hardpoint's going to switch to this house, and then you're going to see me eat a dick. Some guy climbs up from the top, and I did not know he was coming, but we're winning by a pretty dominant lead. Hardpoint is really fun if you have a lot of people playing, but if you run by yourself, you're usually going to eat a big fat dick, and that's just how most game types are in this game. And there we go, me eating the... Speaking of eating a big fat dick, that's what happened. And I switched to this gun halfway through that life, but that life lasted a really long time, so I didn't get to use this gun very much. And here comes the example of the SMGs being overpowered when it comes to close range fighting and gunfighting. I mean, and you'll see it here in a second. I'm gonna think I get off another kill or two, and then I accidentally switch to my pistol and try and shoot down air support, but I forgot I do not have an anti-air support on this class. So shoot that guy. Came in the corner as the game's coming to an end. Killed this guy, and I'm gonna sit in the corner in a second, and the SMG is going to completely annihilate me. But you know, that's fun though. I think the game is pretty balanced as far as the guns go, and I think people need to stop talking up the SMGs so much, making them out to be better than they are. Right there, I clearly had the first shots off on him, but he just, you know, sprayed from the hip, and he takes me down. It doesn't bother me though. I actually am enjoying using the assault rifles far much more than the SMGs, and I don't think they're outclassed that much. If you can get a defensive style down, it's really fun. So that leads me to my question again, guys. What do you guys prefer, assault rifles or SMGs? I'm still going to stick with SMGs, but assault rifles are becoming more fun for me to use, and I am really liking them. And once you can get the style down to play with them, I think you guys will have a lot of fun with it too. I know I rambled on in bits of that commentary, but I got my topic out of the way basically, and I had to just finish things up. So I hope you enjoyed the gameplay, and as always, thank you for watching. Hit that like button and share via Facebook and Twitter, and it really helps me out. And thank you very much.